Hi guys. I have a title here that the Black Manosphere has become like a clown show. And before I dive into that, I must be honest, I'm a little bit on edge. I've been watching the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I am a big Chiefs fan, and definitely this is a very close game. And I look at it and I think that Mahomes is not doing that well right now, and that's because he's injured. So a little anxiety here. I hope the Chiefs can pull it through, but you know what? The Bengals have the momentum, I think. So let's see what happens. But let's chat a little bit about the Black Manosphere. You know, I first came across the Manosphere years ago, and I don't know if it was loosely called the Manosphere back then. This was probably about 2016. First time I heard Tommy Sotomayor, and I found him to be very vulgar, and I found that what he was talking about was not constructive at all. And this is back in 2016. And today, I can tell you, it's not as vulgar. There's some content creators who are they're borderline, but it's not as vulgar as it was before. But what you can hear is that the focus of the Black Manosphere is still on Black women. And I have this illustration right there of a bunch of Black men sitting down drinking some beer in a dilapidated area in an alleyway. And this is reminiscent of what I am seeing. Men who are trying to explain their failures by saying, somehow this has something to do with the women in the community, not them. They have nothing to do with it. It's all based on, you know, the different things that happened over the years. And they will bring up the Moynihan report. They'll talk about welfare. They'll talk about a lot of different things. But the problem is never their problem. They're actually victims of the problem, and they can't do anything to improve their state. They're just victims of it all. And when I see that, it tells me that while Tommy Sotomayor focused a lot on denigrating Black women and their image, the new manosphere, it's more about being a victim of women, being a victim of the system. And these are not all the guys, because I tend to think that these guys, the ones that are in the victimhood mentality, a lot of them, they're non-progressive, they're not going anywhere. And there are other folks, and let's not say that all of them are like this. I mean, not all of them are just lamenting on their situations. There are some folks who come here for, I think, entertainment. And they come here, rather than watch a movie, they're looking to enjoy themselves. And, it's a place where they can go into the chat and, have some fun. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean, people spend their time, getting entertainment in different sources. So why not get your entertainment here on YouTube, just enjoying yourself, kicking it back, watching different things. And I have no problem with that. And I think that if people want to do that, that's their that's their prerogative. And there's nothing wrong. There's a sense of community. People are enjoying themselves. They're talking about different things. But one common thing is there is still a dislike for the current system, and an inability to understand how to improve the system. And one thing I can say, and I'll continually say this, each of us as individuals cannot generally improve a system. And most times it's not the system that's anything wrong with. A lot of times it's you or me. And the fact that we just need to understand the system and how to navigate it. Because one of the things that I've learned over these years is victimhood is comfortable. It's very comfortable because it is a way to explain, why I am where I am. And you have a lot of productive men now who are waking up and figuring out that there's so many 80 to $120,000 jobs out there. I mean, for people with just skills, just a bit of technical skills, there are a whole bunch of jobs out there. And you can do a lot with your time. You can do a lot to improve yourself. And that's what the system has for you. If you do a lot to improve yourself, you can actually thrive within the system. And I can tell you, these guys, I fear more that these guys join these guys, because these guys, they have no plans of improving their lives. They're just going to complain for the next 20 years about black women. They're just that's all they'll ever do, because they have no future ahead of them. And I actually don't think that these guys can change, because the problem is that they don't have the skills, they don't have the earning power. They're just going to sit online and pay $5 super chats so they can write in negative things about black women. And I think at some point in time, these guys are just, this is what they need. This That victimhood for them, that's like taking a daily medicine for them, right? They need to do it. But the guys who are enjoying themselves, they come here to YouTube to have a little fun. I kind of think that I'm like them. You come here, you have a little fun. Nothing wrong with that. But one thing I can say to people, especially young men out there, there is so much opportunity out there, so much to really take advantage of. I like to say that term carpe diem, seize the day. And I will tell people, seize the day. There's so much out there. It takes a little time to build your, the CDL, construction, all of that stuff. There's just so much opportunity out there. And when I come online and I hear people complain about the system and complain about that and all of that, it's just because they're not willing to invest their time to upskill, reskill. They're just not willing to do that. And they like the comfort of blaming other people for their faults, blaming other people for where they are. And I can tell you, it doesn't, I mean, for me in life, I would hate to be in that spot just constantly. I mean, if you like, I can understand someone just came out of a bad divorce, a bad relationship, or someone came out of a situation that they found unfair. Take a little time to recover from it. I'm not saying that you can just bounce back. You're not an Iron Man or Superman, but there must come a time when you wake up and see that there are so much opportunities out there and to fulfill your true function. And I don't believe that sitting down and complaining, you know, day in, day out is getting you anywhere. And one of the things is I've started to listen to a few folks. And one of them is you know, it's a sad thing, but I do listen sometimes to Edward Anderson. And when I listen to him, one of the things is he's a very animated character, very passionate about what he's saying. But one of the things is he's one of those guys who focuses so much on women, on getting women, getting sexual access, all of that stuff. And I cannot understand why there is so much focus on that. That is, like for me, I can just think of a man. Look at this man. I mean, of course, it's an illustration, but this man, if he's earning $80,000 a year, he's working hard, he's saving his money, and, he's trying to, buy a house, buy something for himself. I mean, he should be grinding and hustling and trying to build up his resources. Once he does that, why is he worried? Like, this man would never worry about women. Like, the people who worry constantly about women are these guys, because they have nothing to offer. And anyone who sees them knows that they have nothing to offer anyone. And these are the guys online who are the most angry. And they're trying to, you know, almost like an infection, have young men who have the world in front of them. They're trying to infect them with this defeatist victimhood mentality. And that's one thing I will say, this channel will never support victimhood, because one of the things is that victimhood does not resonate with us moving forward as individuals or as a people. It never does. And I can say this, when I listen to Edward Anderson and other folks, uh, what I hear from them is that somehow, the gynocracy, black women, all of that stuff is stopping them from achieving things and getting what they want in life. I don't understand. I cannot understand how men in this in 2023 don't see the importance of just focusing on your craft, focusing on your skill, working hard, doing what you need to do to get ahead. I constantly have to say this. you know, we are in living in the one of the best times ever, and I cannot see why men, grown men, are focusing on women. And I was listening to something today, and I have to wonder about it. There's some guys in this space who call themselves PhDs. I've never seen where they got their PhD from. I mean, they're behind avatars, and when you listen to them, I can't hear anything that comes sounds like a PhD. They just sound like people trying to explain victimhood again, and they're not trying to. Maybe they tried in the past, but what they're doing is focusing on the fact that these men can't help themselves. Something has to change outside of them, external to them, to improve their lives. That's something that I cannot understand and I'll never subscribe to. And I listen to guys like Clarence Thomas. He's a very small channel. Clarence, I can't remember his last name, but his first name is Clarence. And he's a very small channel, and I like everything he's saying except for game. I've heard folks talk about game, that men need to have game. That's something that I don't agree with. Game is something where someone is trying to do some form of trickery to make themselves seem better than they are to someone else. That's just, to me, that's just chicanery and nonsense. What I believe in not is not game but substance. And I believe that that's what people should aim for, to be substantially better. And so I listen to people and I try to get the good stuff from them. The one thing I'll say is, for me personally, what's important is to continually grow, reskill, upskill. That's the most important thing for me. Be a good father to my family, be a good father to my children, be a good husband to my wife, be a good son to my mother. Those are the things that are important. But not I can't see the value in complaining about a group of people when you have to look into yourself and improve yourself. So I'll keep on this topic, guys, for a while, because one of the things is we'll have to do as time goes on is that a lot of us, if we're not in the place that we want to be, we are going to have to improve. And we have to figure out what's the destination. It, the destination to me cannot be here. If the destination is here, I mean, this is the end game is homelessness, right? I believe that, to me, the destination to me for most men should be here. This is the destination, I think, for most men. One day having your family, living in a nice house, raising your family. That's the destination that I see as a positive destination. Uh, I mean, some guys may see it in a different way, but that's the destination that I think is a valuable one to me, because I believe that we, being on this earth, having the pleasure of being here. Let me see here. Hey, hey, what's you change your name? What's up? What's up? Well, you're Azure. Yeah, things are good. Yeah, it's been busy for a while, and that. So you have a new channel now. I see your name has changed. I don't know if you want to come up. I'll put the link up here. Yeah, but yeah, I've been talking a little bit about the Manosphere and all of that stuff. But yeah, welcome to. Oh, you have switched it up. So what's the new topic now? Like what are you focusing on? I have been keeping. I switched up a bit. I mean, in the last few months, probably there's a time when I was focusing a bit on celeb news, current affairs, all of that stuff. Um, okay. Oh, you're okay. So you're cooking. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, risotto. Oh, that should be nice. That should be nice. Yeah. Yeah, I've taken up the cooking skill myself, but I cook a lot of, well, I didn't cook anything. Did I cook anything ethnically Jamaican today? Well, I cook rice and peas. That's a Jamaican dish, and that. But yeah, I was cooking today too. One of the things I've made a bit of a resolution to do is to eat out less and kind of save that money, because here where I am, easily it's like $15 a day to buy lunch and all of that stuff. So I'm trying to, I kind of work it out, right? I'm in the office normally, 3 to 4 days a week, and I kind of worked it out that if I'm in 4 days a week, 200 days multiplied by $15, that's like $3,000. And I found that cooking, it's cheaper, much cheaper. It might be about 2-3 bucks per meal when you cook versus buying it by in the food court for like $15. So yeah, I do that, a lot more of that myself, and that cooking and that. Yeah. So as I was saying, Azor, you know I believe that this destination for men, it's a good aim. Some guys may aim for different things. Like for me, listen, I'm open to it, right? Different game, but one thing you should be able to do is feed yourself, and that's the important thing. And I am going to definitely tell you, these folks, these folks, if this is your destination, trust me, if this is your destination, if this is where you want to end up, or this is where you're drifting towards, I'm sad for those folks, right? I'm truly sad for them, because I passed them by, the downtown where I live. I passed them by. They're a lot of them are homeless, and it's cold here. And sometimes you pass them by, and you're like, what did they do with their lives? Like, how did they get here? And one of the things I can tell you, I have found, and it's with men, if you don't take responsibility and accountability for yourself, you're just sleepwalking to right here. And you'll find out quickly that the world really doesn't care about you. And you'll just sleepwalk right into homelessness, right into poverty. And until men, switch, a lot of men here switch their focus from women and focus more a bit on themselves, upskilling, getting themselves, the type of skills and the type of fields that can help them. Trust me, these men, they're sleepwalking towards homelessness, poverty, all of that stuff. And I hate to see it, but it is happening. And these guys who are there already in the homelessness, the poverty, and all that, there's not much that you can do to help them. They're just here, but their focus is skewed, and a lot of them are hurt. They're truly hurt, and you can hear it, you can see it. And some people may say go seek therapy. Practicality, I don't think these guys can afford therapy. And I think that they use some of these channels for therapy, but it's negative therapy, because it's negative reinforcement. They go onto a channel that the host is saying negative things about black women, and they feel happy about it. And sometimes they take the last $5 that they have for the week, and they send it as a super chat, because they want to make sure that that type of content is available daily for them. Because to them, it's like a fix. Like, you have to understand, when someone, and had this artwork here, when someone is in and has an issue, and they're sitting in some dilapidated place, they have no money, they have to blame something for it. Like, this is the destination, this is where they reach, and they have to explain to you how they got here. A lot of them would tell you is that it was their mother, they felt abandoned, they felt it was some woman that took them to court, got child support, all of that stuff. And they feel this level of abandonment, and they need to jointly talk about this abandonment. And the funny part is, it's not funny, it's sad, they need support groups. And they're on YouTube finding these support groups. And when they find these support groups, the sad part is that there's a lot of grifters who have figured out that these guys need a daily fix. These guys need shows that say the title Modern Woman. Then these guys need, what is Keisha up to? These guys need it, because they have to constantly reinforce and explain why they are where they are. They constantly have to explain it because they're at this destination and they have to answer themselves every day. I am at this destination not because of anything I did. I am at this destination because life, the woman, the system, racism has been unfair to me. And this is what they need. And this daily fix that they get helps them to keep going. And these guys around, they provide this daily fix for them. And as I said, I don't worry much about these folks because the truth of the matter is they are where they are. My biggest concern are these folks. They're enjoying themselves for now, but they have to focus on producing because the day they don't, if they don't keep those jobs and they don't keep producing, they can fall right back into, the dead end. So I wanted to cover that today because, as I said, I do believe that the Manosphere is now becoming like a clown show for the greater part, and I do believe that it is promoting victimhood. And I don't care how they try to wrap it up. They wrap it up under calling women all sorts of names, all of that. But the fact of the matter is, they're telling men we are powerless because of a system. And for many men, that's not true. And the truth of the matter is, for most of them, is they don't have the skills, they don't have marketable skills to make it in this world. And they won't face those facts because I won't get into the relationship part. That to me is not the most important thing. The most important part to me is, can you pay your bills? Are you able to live a reasonably comfortable existence? That's the most important part. If you answer those questions, two questions, yes, then the next questions become easier. And I think that that should be the focus. That should be the number one focus. And I'll continually talk about that because I do believe that as a responsible man, I must, you know, I must not partake in this nonsense because this nonsense of victimhood doesn't help anyone. As I said, victimhood should be a short-term rental, 2 3 days a week the most, but you can't live there because you'll be in a recurring, it's like a recurring decimal. You're in the same position every day. Complaining does not change anything. And so I hope that a lot of people emerge from it because it's not productive. Anyhow, guys, I hope you have a good week. I just wanted to come on to chat about this a little bit. And thank you for sharing your Sunday evening with me. Thanks, guys.